Why is it always so easy for me to feel depressed at what's going on around us? Quite often I've noticed that many of the things I talk about on here tend to have rather a sort of a dark, slightly depressive feeling to them. Well, to be honest with you, I'm not really that much of a depressive kind of guy. I'm actually fairly upbeat on the whole and quite positive, and I have a few positive things, maybe mixed with a few negative things, just that I might like to share with you all this morning. Now, the good news, I've just come back from the second of 3 injections into this left eye. There you go. Now, that there left eye is suffering from a form of edema, and the injections on the NHS are meant to reduce the swelling behind the eye and hopefully save the sight in that eye. The result of complications of diabetes over many, many years. Now, something I want to say that was good from being treated and taken care of by our NHS this morning, and I really do want to say this was just absolutely amazing. The nurses and all the staff at James Paget Hospital, Great Yarmouth, are always absolutely fantastic. I would like to put on record, for as long as it can exist in cyberspace, my praise for all of them, especially those of them working as they were this morning in the eye clinic. Now, as you can imagine, it's probably not that nice having an injection in your eye, but they did a fantastic job, and I want to thank them for their tremendous professionalism. But more than anything, I want to thank them because you just know that those people care. You just sense that those people are not just doing this as a job. You sense that their patients and the healing and treatment of their patients matter to them personally. So I want to put that on record and say what a fantastic group of people at the NHS Peterborough, at James Paget, and of course everybody working in the NHS from top to bottom, from the cleaners to the senior consultants and the NHS managers, who do, under incredibly difficult circumstances, what is a very, very tough job, but they do indeed deserve every penny they get. Now, just on a slightly more important note, I would just like to highlight something that Theresa May, Frau May as I usually call her because of the sort of neo-Nazi associations, has recently been saying. We all know that we're coming up towards Christmas, and that's great. Yeah, fantastic time of the year, and I am quite happy to wish all of my friends, many, many friends, far and wide, a happy and blessed Christmas. Theresa May, of course, however, tells us that she is a Christian. I'm sure she is. But I'm not sure that the way she is acting betrays anything about any kind of Christian value or truly following the way of Christ. I looked around me when I walked towards our NHS hospital this morning, had my injection at just after 9 o'clock, yeah? I was amazed at the fact that very shortly, and this almost goes without a doubt, everywhere I would have stepped will be owned by a private company. Everywhere my footfalls will have fallen, from the waiting room to the little bed on which I lay to have the injection in this eye, will become the property of somebody like Richard Branson. From the car park to the operating tables, one person in a massive corporation will own those things. Now, I thought to myself that when I was fortunate enough to be working, and I have worked for a very long time, and when my parents and the people before them, the generations before them, worked and paid tax and national insurance, I really believed that we were paying for an NHS and a health service that would treat all of us really according to clinical need, and certainly would have nothing to do with whether we could afford it or not. I just now feel, in fact, I believe, it won't be long before there is no further treatment to this eye. Because the treatment to this eye, I am told, costs probably, together with the nursing care as well, between £600 and £800 a time. Now, this treatment for many of us will go on for many years, but it will help to save our sight. But very shortly, I am absolutely convinced, funding will be withdrawn. And people like myself, and those far worse off than me, will be simply left to go blind. And when there are blind people scrabbling around on our streets, trying not to get knocked over by the traffic, trying to board buses, but they can't even find the entrance to the bus, when more blind and seriously disabled people are really just left alone, left on their own, left untreated, almost certainly homeless, you will know that it began with a government whose policy is one of corporate greed, rewarding the top 1%, and the rest of us, ordinary citizens, working or not working, disabled or able-bodied, pushed aside because we can't afford it. We have a Prime Minister who lives in luxury while there are homeless people on the streets that she and her corporate cronies have created. Well, this goes on a little bit, I know, but either way, hope for the future. If you are listening, please carry on with the fight to save our NHS, carry on with the fight to save our public services, carry on supporting your trade unions, our trade unions, for they are the only hope we have against what is frankly a form of neoliberal, corporate, neo-fascist government. Have a great Christmas.